Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 62 of Learn and Become podcast. And it's us again talking about learning, discipline, and English, and yeah, many things. So thank you, Deborah, for being here again. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know if I asked you like how you were in the beginning of the call when we first started, but
Maybe. I don't know.
yeah, so it's good to know that you're good.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about, so tell us what we're going to talk about today, because it's very cool.
Yeah, it's my suggestion. Well, I was listening again. We gotta be repetitive. I think that guy should really listen to your podcast. What's his name again? The author of the book?
James Clear.
Yeah, Clear.
So
James Clear should listen to your podcast because the amount of publicity you're doing for him, it's like impressive.
It's like it should be James Clear podcast.
I know, right? It's been what, 3 weeks now, 3 episodes that we've been only talking about his book, basically. We're in the world for it.
In season 2, because in season 1, I've recorded many episodes about his books too, because
it's that good.
Yes, that's the point. Like it's not because it's just because it's good. Like you read and you go like, oh man, that's true.
Like people need to know this, and please again read the book, people. Like if you haven't yet, buy it. Portuguese works, English even better, but really read the book. Anyways, or listen to it. Like that's what I do. I listen to the book. I don't really read it. Anyways, and you were a long time asking me for us to talk about the book, right? And together since we read, and I was like, oh, so I gotta read it again, so give me some time, and now I'm taking time for it. Anyways, well, so I was listening to the book and driving, because usually that's when I listen, or running. I don't know if I was running. I think I was running at the time, but I was running, and then I was like, wait a second, like what? So basically
You were running and then you stopped. You're like, no.
Wait, what? Exactly. So basically, I've been telling myself a lie my whole freaking life, right? Like with so many different things in my life in general, right? And I was like, what? Like I was really impressed. I was like, okay, this is life-changing, mind-blowing. I'm gonna tell Andres that we gotta talk about this in the next podcast. Anyway,
just a quick parenthesis here. I think you sent me the audio like right after that, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, I was just listening to the book and we should talk about it.
Yep. Because for me, maybe it doesn't impact other people the way it impacted me, but for me it was like an eye-opening, that it was like, oh wow, that's freaking crazy. Because what I'm gonna quote here is gonna start with something very interesting. It says recent research. So it's not James Clear talking about. It's scientists. Like it's research. It's scientifically proven. It's not just, oh, here's my opinion about this fact or this information. No, it's researched and proven. Anyways, so that's pretty amazing to me. But just so we're gonna talk about the chapter 7 of the book. And the book, the chapter 7 is, what is the name? What is it? The name of the chapter?
The name of the chapter, so it's chapter 7, and the title is The Secret to Self-Control.
Yeah. So basically, just gonna do a super general thing. You can add something to it if you want. But basically, he starts talking about drug addicts from soldiers that were fighting in the Vietnam War. And they found out that 90% of those soldiers were addicted to heroin. and they were trying, and they saw a huge problem in that population, right? And that's how in the United States, a few years later, the army started to focus on the mental health of the soldiers, and many programs were created to decrease the drug addiction from soldiers in the army, which for me, it's very special to hear because my husband is army, right? So that for me shows, that gives me a little bit of peace that there are people out there that cares for the soldiers that are in the army, because that's like a lot of those soldiers that fought Vietnam, they left the army afterwards, right? So it's not like we need to keep our soldiers healthy, but we got to keep these men healthy, right? And it's very sad because me driving around, I see so many homeless, and a lot of those homeless are actually people who fought that war. A lot of them now, they're old, but there's a lot of, and you see a lot of alcoholism and all that. So it is a real problem. So anyway, so he talks about that, and he uses this example and this research they did with these soldiers, where they found out how to help the soldiers to not be addicted. And what they found out is that the soldiers were in an environment that were triggers to cause them addiction, because it was causing anxiety and other mental depression and other mental issues with everything they were facing. So because of that, they found out that a lot of the soldiers would come back home, and then they were not addicted anymore, because they would come back to an environment that removed all those triggers that made them to be addicted to heroin in the first place. And a lot of them also stayed addicted. So, and then it also talks about how a lot of people who goes to rehab, they clean themselves, but then they go back home and they go back because those triggers are around them, right? They maybe have a very unstable family or a very unstable place to live, and all those, or a neighborhood that is filled of really addicted people. So all those are triggers that takes people to be addicted to something. And he relates that to habits. That's not just to addictions, but also to habits, because it's related. And then in the chapter 8, he's going to explain how does that happen in your brain. So it's all about the dopamine and the craving for your brain has for dopamine, and what these addictions bring to your body that makes you crave more and more and more. So anyway, so basically this is a summary of this chapter. He talks about self-control, but really what really blew my mind when I heard was that about discipline. So here's what he said about the discipline part. He said, recent research, however, shows something different. When scientists analyze people who appear to have tremendous, I don't know how to say that, self-control, it turns out those individuals aren't all that different from those who are struggling. Instead, disciplined people are better at structuring their lives in a way that does not require heroic willpower and self-control. In other words, they spend less time tempting situations. So when I read that, what I understand is that what we call disciplined people is not that they are practicing discipline, is that they are creating systems, like we talked in past podcasts. They are creating systems that help them to create habits that are healthier. So they're not really practicing discipline, which means they are not disciplined people. They are just people. So when I heard the list, I was like, wait, what? So me, the person who works out every week, you're telling me that I'm not disciplined anymore because I've already went through the struggling of keeping, of going through the self-control to keep doing those things that I commit myself to do. But in some point now, I don't need to practice discipline anymore because it's just part of my daily habits of working out. It's part of my life right now. So for me, that was like, wow, for me, that was crazy. I don't know about you, but for me, that's freaking crazy because how many times you look at other people and think, oh man, I wish I was disciplined like him. Then I would have the body that I want. Then I would have the health that I want. Then I would have the money that I want. Then I would speak English. Then I would play music. Then like, but I don't have that discipline. I'm not disciplined. It's like, no, you don't have to be disciplined. You do in the beginning. You gotta have discipline to build those habits. But once you build those habits, they become automatic to you. And for me, that was like, huh, I don't know about you, but that's all I gotta say. That's all I have to say in this podcast.
All right, guys, that's it for today. Not just kidding. So that's very interesting. So one thing that I want to point out first place is that if this research worked with drug addiction, surely it will work with, literally whatever thing you can think of. Like,
True.
you can think about, like, I want to learn how to play an instrument. It's surely easier than, quitting drug addiction. Like,
And
for a
that's what
fact.
he points out. He points out that once you're addicted to something, though that addiction doesn't go away, right? A person who is addicted to heroin is always gonna have those triggers, and then those triggers will always cause them to one of those drugs. So he gives the example of the lady who used to ride horses and smoke. So for her, she related riding horses and smoking. So years later, she stopped smoking, and a decade later, she went for a horse ride again, and then she found herself having a craving for a cigarette when she haven't smoked for years. So her brain made that connection, and then she had the desire. So you think, oh, holy cow, never goes away. It never gonna go away. So if you do better habits, like you said, you want to play music, you need to have things that are going to trigger that desire to play music.
Mhm. And that is very interesting because we're actually talking about two things. One, they're connected, but one is designing a good environment and a good system that will benefit you, and the discipline in the beginning, which is actually getting somehow into motion, right? And if we think about it, that's physics. So Newton's first law of motion says that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction, unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. And thinking about the negative example of the lady that was riding horses and wanted to smoke again after years, same thing will happen for positive things. So if you have the discipline in the beginning to structure, organize, just step on the gas for 2-3 months, get it going. And if you pursue that discipline for a little while, you will probably be able to get back to it if you fall from the right path.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
if
and
you
then it
skip
doesn't
2 days,
and
you'll
then
come
it
back.
doesn't take discipline anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it takes discipline only if you fall short on the process. If you eventually get out of the process
Yeah, you
you
gotta
are.
go back to it.
So your discipline will be the way. But that's actually very interesting because the word discipline, when you discipline a child, you are
Mhm.
correcting,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
So your discipline is the ability to get you back on track, but not the strength for you to get up and do it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's
like a
like my
combo.
Nick. I'll give you an example, Nick, right? My husband. He was extremely disciplined when it came to his diet and his workout routines. He, as a high schooler, he was very tiny kid, didn't grow, and he actually hit puberty like in his 20s. So he grew 72 pounds in 1 year. That is 35 kilograms in 1 year he gained. Not fat, all muscles. Like he grew and he became stronger, right? And that's a lot to 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 get in 1 year,
It's a
especially
lot
in
of
muscle.
effort.
Yeah. So what happened is not just the effort he put it into it, but also he grew because he's, like I said, puberty hit him late in life. So hormones helped him on that one. But still, he grew a lot. But he also changed his life. He was not a kid in high school that would work out and do weight training and eat was a big problem for him. He has an extremely low appetite and he would not eat. And
What about now?
he doesn't eat when he's stressed. And a lot of that came with the stress he had in high school. So once he started college, he decided to change and he decided to work out. And he did it more because of self-confidence. His self-confidence wasn't as strong. So and part of that self-confidence came from the way he looked. So I asked him, but now he's me before me now, my past me, because I was the opposite. I practiced gymnastics for 11 years. When it came to the age of 19, I stopped practicing gymnastics. That was something that I loved. And I couldn't find any other activity that caught my interest for as well as gymnastics. So I spent a lot of years without having a constant discipline and a habit of working out. I did for a few months, and then we quit, right? So I still ask myself how I haven't gained more weight, because then I started working home office, and I would literally just, all the exercise I would get was a walk around the block with Pepper. That's it.
Good thing
And
you
I don't
got
know how
Pepper.
I didn't gain more weight. What?
I said, good
Thank
thing you
God
got.
for Pepper.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and Nick was always pushing me to be more, to exercise more, to work out more, to eat. But I've never been a person that ate super poorly, because it's just, my body does crave better food than like fast food and stuff. I'm never being this person. So, but now I'm even better, right? And then Nick, now it's me. But a lot comes with the time he has. He would have to really structure his life in a way that he made everything in the right time with the right quantity of time to fit all those things into his life right now, because he's just so busy. He works 80 hours a week, and that's a lot. A normal person works 40, right? So it's double shift basically. So
That's
it's a
crazy.
lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So because he's so busy, he has a hard time. So he kind of like let it go, right? He's not working out as often. He's not being able to create this system that works for him in regards to his health. He's just not worse because I'm the one who cook for him. So I'm the one who pack his food, so I make sure he eats vegetable, he eats everything he needs to eat. So he has still a pretty good diet because it's the same diet that I have at home. But still, he snack a lot of junk food all the time and all that. So he became me, right? And it will take time for him to go back to that behavior of having the routine of working out. But the difference is he wants that. He always, all the time saying, I can't wait to go back to that routine. I can't wait to be that person again, right? And for me, it's like, I'm in love with this process. I'm in love with being this person, right? To a person with the good habits and working out and eating better and all that. So, so my point is, it's gonna take discipline from him to go back. But because he had those habits before, the right triggers are going to be there available for him to go back to them. And then it's going to be so much more easy, and it's going to take so much less discipline to keep going. And like you said, get the process in motion that then in the beginning when he was just starting, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, how did you start? Like, because I keep telling him, you got to go back to it. You got to go back to it. It's going to be helping you with all the stress you have, but you got to be mindful about your reality right now. You don't have an hour, do a 20 minutes workout. But he had not been able to, he never listens to me. So I gave up. If somebody else told him the same thing, he probably would.
Can you tell that to Camila?
I'm sure Camila says the same thing about you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so
Yeah.
she doesn't think I'm the only one. So
Okay.
just
That's
very
not
quickly.
the thing, though.
Yeah, I know. All right. So we were talking about something not very nice about husbands listening to wives, and then the call dropped. I promise I didn't cut it off. I know it's not a good thing. Not proud of it. But yeah, we're talking about being disciplined and his workout routine.
Yeah. So anyways, I keep telling him like he haven't done, but I asked him like, how did you start that life? How did you start becoming that person when you were not? And you know what he told me? He told me that every day in college, he would wake up and do as many push-ups by his bed, as many as he could. That's how he started. He would wake up, first thing, got up, opened his eyes, got up and dropped down on the floor and did 10 push-ups, 15, 20, 50, how many that was. That's how he started. He become more active, more disciplined about working out and all that. That's simple. It was like, wow, that's crazy.
And the thing is, as we talked, as we mentioned when we talked about systems, a complex system that starts complex doesn't work, but a simple one that becomes complex work.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So I told him, I said, okay, since you're not being able to be yourself, basically, what you can do is start from the beginning. If last time you started from dropping down on the floor and doing X push-ups, go back to that point and start over, right? He did that for a few weeks, but I feel like he didn't do the same system where he woke up and he dropped to the floor, because now he doesn't sleep by himself anymore, right? So he's avoiding to wake me and all that. So he started doing it after he came downstairs, and maybe that didn't work because he changed, he got ready for work and then got distracted, focused on what's happening next, right? And didn't do it. So maybe I need to remind him again, like, okay, so last time that system didn't work. What will work? You dropping down inside the closet, get up, go to the closet, do inside the closet if you don't want to wake me, or do right next to the bed, because seriously, I don't care to wake up. I go back to sleep in 5 seconds later, right? It's not something really that's gonna bother me. So
that's probably a family thing.
Oh, what?
Like this
my
sleeping thing. My brother is the same. I'm the same. Camila is always like, How do you do that? Like, I'm just talking to you and then you're out.
Well, I'm not that terrible. Like you are not the level. Yeah, I'm like if I lay on bed, I'll be sleeping the next 5 minutes most nights, you know.
Yeah.
The 5 minutes is still a long time to take me to fall asleep. But anyways, my point is, so he will have to put himself, give himself those triggers back, right? Where he helps him to have self-control, which helps him to go back to be disciplined. But in some point, all that gonna become natural again. So that's the beauty. Let's just take a moment and appreciate the beauty of life. Like how your body is just so perfect that it works in a way that you want to spend the last energy and the last time for most things, which means all that struggle and all that effort and all that suffering goes away. Like how beautiful is that, right? Because in the beginning, all you focus is the suffering part of it, right? The struggle part of it. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. But you go and do it, you know, even if you don't want to. And then at some point, those feelings and those struggles don't exist as hard as anymore. For me, for example, last week, I worked out Monday and Wednesday only because I had to pack to go for a trip, right? And on Wednesday, I didn't really have time to work out. And then my friend was like, oh, I'm close to your house. Are we going to work out today? And I said, look, I really don't have time. But what do you think? And then she said, you know, let's do at least 20 minutes because I'm already close to your house. I haven't worked out all week and I feel I'm very stressed and I think it will help me out. It's like, okay, so if you need, I'll be there with you. So that biggest thing, accountability for me, right, is a big, big one for me. So she came and we did the 20 minutes. And seriously, the 20 minutes, I was like, how the heck, Alana, our friend, my personal trainer, how the heck she thought I was going to be alive if I did the whole thing? Like just the warm up, I was already dying. And then I did only work out. It was like, holy crap, thank God I'm not doing the whole thing. I will be dead, you know? So it was a 20-minute exercise that I was like, okay, that is something for sure. So anyway, so we did that and I left for the trip, right? And the whole time I was craving to work out. I was craving it. I keep thinking I'm gonna wake up early and go for a run. But the problem is where we were at is really hot, humid, and full of mosquitoes. I don't know the place. And I was going to bed at 11 and waking up early to get ready to leave. And the early was already 6. So it's not like I really have the time to go out and for a run. So unfortunately, I couldn't. But I was the whole time thinking, okay, maybe today. And I was feeling super crappy too. So on the way home, I told Nick, like, oh my gosh, this week you gotta clean our diet, eat more salad and more vegetables because my body is like not happy with me right now. And then this week is only Tuesday, but this week I'm like craving exercise. Like yesterday I started working out and it's like, even if I didn't have a workout partner, I was going to either way because I could not do it. Today I've been trying to work out. I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm already planning like what time is gonna work, you know. I'm doing all that. My mind is like, cannot shut that off because my body's like, you gotta do it, you gotta do it, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. Like you will feel so much better if you do it. Just do it. You know, and before would be, I have all the good excuse not to do it, you know, like, so I'm not going to, you know.
That's impressive. Like that's amazing. Like the truth is that we get used to whatever we kind of condition ourselves to, right? And the thing is, by default, it seems like or like the easiest thing to do is just to Instagram, Netflix, and sitting on the couch because it won't require you any effort. But as James Clear says, also easy has a cost. But
Yeah.
when you discover that you want a easy tomorrow, not a easy today, and you condition yourself to do that, your
Yeah.
easy becomes what's good.
Yeah. And it's interesting because in the next chapter, he will talk about that. He will talk how all these companies, they have a whole department focused on what is going to become addicting, basically, if you want to put a name to it. Because he's even talked like there are departments trying to find the perfect crunch, the perfect softness in a French fries, like what is the perfect amount of carbonation for the soda, like everything. They have departments creating those things, which for me, it's so freaking evil, but okay. Because on the other side, we probably also have companies that are trying to create better products now, right? But still, they're always more expensive, which is very sad. But anyways, but they do, right? They do try to create these addicting triggers for people to keep addicted to them, like Netflix, social media, Instagram, TikTok. Like I was reading a post on TikTok, on Instagram about it's called neuroscience, the page, and they post about TikTok and the neuroscience for the kids, right? How the TikTok, it is he's built to be addicting, and how allowing our kids to be so focused on the short videos and keep scrolling eternally, because that always can keep scrolling. It's extremely addicting. And how does that
Yes.
create in their minds?
Have you ever done TikTok? Have you ever used it? Yeah, I do post on TikTok every day.
Mhm.
So I create a video, I open 4 different social medias to post the same video on. I
Mhm.
do Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, like those short videos on YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok. I'm not the social media person. It's not a thing I study. But I've never seen social media that works with a volume of content at a rapid speed, like so that engages and catches your attention as much as TikTok.
Mm.
Like whenever I open it to post, I'm very watchful not to be 10 minutes. Like I open to post a video, and then for example, I like cycling, bikes, and just adventure. So like the Red Bull videos will like right away pop up on my screen, guys going down the mountain like on bikes, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then next thing is something interesting. So it is very addicting.
Yeah.
And it creates the negative effect of what we're just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because technology will be around for years. And how will a kid that grows up doing TikTok like 6 hours a day react to technology in a work environment? Like this will probably be like the muscle memory thing, which is one thing
Yeah.
that I was thinking of when you mentioned Nick, because there is some sort of muscle memory, which is actually not the muscle, it's the brain, but it's
Yeah.
like a brain muscle memory that will get him back on track. And one thing that was very interesting while you were saying is that it was not about the activity he would do. Like the whole time you're not saying he wants to go back to the gym to lift weights or to do calisthenics or to run or swim.
Mhm.
Like the activity wasn't the thing. It was
Mhm.
the type of person,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's so cool because it's not about what you do. It's more about the type of
You know,
person you are, and then it will reflect on your
in what you do.
actions.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I was almost my whole life an athlete. For 11 years, like most of my youth, I was an athlete, right? And then I came an adult and I stopped being an athlete. And and that was not normal for me,
Mm.
even though I was being. So now that I'm back to being a person who exercise more, I realized like, whoa, wow, a big part of me was not being used, was dead basically. So now that I'm back to it, I'm like, how did I not realize and didn't miss all these before, right? And and now I don't see myself becoming an old person that doesn't move, that doesn't exercise, that doesn't lift weight, that doesn't walk, that doesn't hike. I just can't picture myself being that person anymore. And like Nick one time was in the gym and he said that there was a 80-year-old man lifting weight. He says he was freaking buff. Like I came to him and said, man, you inspire me. I want to be like you. And he came to Nick like, so here's my advice. Never stop. If you start moving, then you're old, basically. Then you become old. So never stop moving. And my neighbor, she's runs 10Ks. Her husband is a running coach. They hike, they climb, they go to do hikes. She's doing a master degree now. She's retired. She's like in her 60s. She's taking a master degree now in naturalistic, something like that, where she basically is gonna be a tour trailer, trailer, how do you say that? Trail, or I don't know. She's gonna do tours in trails around the whole El Paso, taking tourists in hikes and
Crazy.
explaining plants and animals and the geography and all that. So all in nature, and she's like over 60 now, and she's living the best life. And she said, and then one of the ladies from my church was talking to her, and I was next to her, and she's like, Dee, I admire you so much because I see you doing all these things with you and your husband. They once a month or a year, I don't know, they always go to a concert together. They make sure to choose a concert to go to have a night out like that, or play something like cultural, let's put that way. And then she was saying, but here's the thing, if you start playing, you get old, you can't stop playing. And then, like, in such, like, in here in United States, I see, and that's so inspiring, the way elderly people live their lives here in many places. It's extremely inspiring because they're always moving. Like Nick's grandma, she's 96 old and she still drives,
That's
you know,
crazy.
and she has arthritis. She can't even lift her arm all the way up, you know.
She
So
drives like that.
yeah, she drives like this. Yes. So it's just amazing how elderly people here are. They are very mindful about their health, when it comes to activities. I see every day I walk to the park to walk Pepper. Most people doing exercise there. I give it to you that 60% of the people that are doing the walk around the park are over 50 years old, because it's a lot of them. They are doing their walk. I have a neighbor that every day she goes up the street, go to the park, do I don't know how many loops, and come back to her house. That's all she does. But she does every single day, winter, summer, no matter what. She's in the morning walking. It's impressive. It's inspiring.
Yeah, so overall, you chose a very good place to live where your environment will also push you to do what you got
Yeah.
to do. Like you're not fighting the environment. James Clear
Yeah.
says in this chapter, I've never seen a person keeping a good habit in a negative environment. So if
Yeah.
you live in New York City, and you just go to work, I mean, grab your coffee, go to work I don't know how many hours, walk back home and just TV, do the same thing repeatedly. Or another big city, I don't know, California, whatever big city it could be, you're more likely to not see those positive triggers in your environment.
Yeah.
So
Well, it depends, because a lot of New Yorkers, they might not be healthy, but they walk a lot, because a lot of the places you go in New York, you get public transportation, and it takes from one place to another. You sometimes will walk a lot, or bike, right? So in a way, it really depends on where you live, for sure, and your environment, not the city itself, but also the small community that you're in, or the distance that you need to walk to places and stuff like that. And it's just, for me, it's just really, I just feel like in Brazil, a lot of people will retire and stay home.
mhm.
You know, they don't really have, Brazilians are very bad at planning their retirement.
I don't know
I
if they
mean,
do it.
maybe next generation might do a better job, but most Brazilians are very bad because they stop working completely. They don't slow down to then stop working. They decide, this age, I'm gonna slow down, I'm gonna stop working. Then they're working 40 hours a week, and then nothing. And then they are 24 hours with nothing to motivate them, to make them use their mind, nothing. When it should be, okay, I'm gonna stop working next year, so what am I gonna do to slow down? You know, can I start working part-time before I actually stop working? Can I take a place of consultant before I start working? What is the hobby that I can start volunteering to? You know, you can volunteer to places. You love carpentry, how you say? Carpentry, carpenter. Anyways, work with wood. Go to build like furniture for people that needs furniture, you know, volunteer. Don't do it for the money, do it for the work. Anyways, things like that. And I feel like Brazilians don't do that as well. Americans do. Americans has a much stronger mindset in that way. Most, not all of them. I'm generalizing here, but I think in comparison, Americans do a better job in that way, you know.
Yes, yeah. I don't know why, but I kind of feel the same too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, about this, I don't know if I want to retire. Like, not necessarily that I'll always be working to generate income, but I
Mhm.
don't want to stop unless I
Yeah,
have to.
yeah, that's the thing, is about exactly that point. People think that retirement should be a time of stopping, right? No, it's a time of rest. You rest still doing things. You don't need to rest sitting your butt on the sofa. That's not resting.
Because you're
In
getting
some
more
point that
tired.
becomes worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
that in some point that is actually worse. It makes you more miserable, right? You can rest by doing something. Anything, a hobby, a traveling, you know, visiting people, cooking for your family, like doing the things that your young self always said you were going to do after you stopped working. And then at some point you forgot about those things, or you don't feel capable anymore because now you're old, right? Let's say, oh, I want to climb the Mount Everest, and now I'm 65 years old, retired. I could, but now I'm 65 years old. I don't think I can. Well, so if your goal as a young person is to climb the Mount Everest when you retire, guess what? You got to start preparing for it now. So when you get at the age 55, you are prepared for that, even at the age of 55, you know, 65.
Yeah. Even if you
So
can't climb Everest, you can climb, I mean, the mountain next to
automatic.
your house. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get going. It was good talking
awesome.
to you.
Yes, that was awesome. So, lesson of the day, you don't have to be a disciplined person. You have to be smart and create an
Yeah,
environment that will help you to get to your goals. pretty
Yeah,
much it.
exactly.
All
Yeah.
right. Do
it
you want
started-
to add anything? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I like what you said about the discipline is just for you to get emotion. Once you get emotion, you stay in motion. So I really like that. That's the idea. That's when you need discipline, but you don't need to be disciplined necessarily forever. You know?
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you very
Anyway,
much for bringing that up. Hopefully next week we continue to talk on something else. And that was it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah, you have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.